Tēnā koutou katoa. A big warm welcome to the session. We're just having everyone arrive and settle in. Aroha mai for running just a little few minutes behind. I've got a bit of a Sunday vibe going on here, Sunday afternoon vibe, no less. We're just going to share some slides that are going to ground us in our tikanga for this session. The session is Anticapitalism, Antiracism and Intersectionality. We have three absolutely amazing panelists this afternoon, Zane Wedding, Joe Wrigley and Brooke Stanley. Really look forward to introducing our panelists shortly. Ko George Parker, toko ingoa. I am your chair for this session. Our community code for this hui is here. Effectively, we want this to be a space of rich dialogue and learning. So we're asking you to follow the below code, bring your curiosity, openness and respect. Be generous in your assumptions of us all. Gift us your confidentiality. We'll just be speaking one at a time to make it an accessible space. We'll be speaking from our own experience. Yeah, we hope that it'll be a space of rich dialogue, and we promise, given that it is late Sunday afternoon, that we won't be taking ourselves or you too seriously. So feel free to relax. Hope you've got a cup of tea or a cold drink, and we'll crack into our session. Accessibility info, please let us know if you're having any access issues, but hopefully that will give you what you need to know there. And a huge thank you to the incredibly generous sponsors of Te Tiriti Futures. It is only possible because of that partnership. Of course, my phone is ringing, so let's turn that off and drop it on the floor. Yeah, full acknowledgement to our awesome sponsors. Okay, I think that will be our setup things. Awesome. So, yeah, let's crack in. Well, as I say, tēnā koutou katoa. I am George, and thank you for joining us on this, what is a very golden afternoon on the Kapiti Coast, land of Ngāti Toa, Te Aotearoa, and Ngāti Raukawa. I'm your chair for this session in the full spirit of intersectionality and Te Tiriti Futures. I'll begin by positioning myself. I am a Tangata Te Tiriti Health Services academic at Te Waka, Victoria University of Wellington. I'm a kahu pōkai midwife. I'm a parent. I'm a queer and trans person. My pronouns are they, them. I was honoured and a little daunted to be asked to chair this session with the theme of intersectionality, anti-capitalism and anti-racism. But my spirits have been so settled by getting to form some connections with our panellists today, who are a really beautifully diverse range of activist, organiser, thinkers and doers in Aotearoa. We've got Zane Wedding, Brooke Stanley and Joe Wrigley. All three of you are beautifully positioned to speak to our kaupapa this afternoon, where we will be tackling, as Patricia Hill-Collins, one of our earliest thinkers in intersectionality, what she defined as the matrix of domination, that is those intertwined systems of colonisation, capitalism, climate collapse, exploitation that are shaping our daily life in Aotearoa for sure, but more significantly, potentially, the very potential for our future. We're going to start by just having a bit of a round of our panelists who will take a moment to introduce themselves. From there, we will be having about 10 minutes or so. We're not going to be timing anyone to talk a little bit to this kaupapa that's been set to us this afternoon. It's a pretty big topic for a Sunday afternoon. We're tackling those matrices of domination, but I can't wait to see where our panelists are going to take that. Once our panelists have spoken to that kaupapa, we'll be bringing us all together in dialogue and hopefully richly with you all who are listening with your questions and comments. Can I ask, and we're going to be going in order of Zane, Brooke, then Joe. So Zane, can I ask you first to introduce yourself? Kia ora.
Kia ora, tēnā koe, o tira tēnā tātou. Ko ngā pōtiki a hene hōpū e heru mai ana ki te mātara I ōrihu, kāti ko au tēnei, he ori au no Ngāti Pikia, no Ngāti Kurihoki ko Zane toku ingoa. Whānau, my name is Zane. I'm like a child of South Auckland for reals. And, you know, it's only right there since we're speaking about intersectionality and anticapitalism, like I am sitting on stolen whenua right now. And that needs to be acknowledged. And we need to acknowledge also that that stolen whenua is something that is kind of like being the backbone of the capitalist society that we're a part of right now. I think one of my favorite quotes is actually an Indigenous Australian quote. And I don't know if it specifically speaks to intersectionality or not, but Lila Watson, she said, if you have come here to help me, you are wasting your time. But if you have come here because you know that your liberation is bound to my liberation, then we have work to do together. And, you know, intersectionality for me very much speaks into the shared liberation of all of us, but it also speaks into that shared oppression of all of us, that shared like trauma that we all kind of sit upon as citizens within Aotearoa, and it's often the thing that's spoken to least. And so, yeah, I'm really honored to be able to share space today, especially for some of the people that I'm speaking with, which makes me feel way out of place. But yeah, I do want to acknowledge both the speakers that I'm with, whilst also acknowledging the people who have allowed us this space, the people behind the scenes who are kind of carrying this mahi at the moment. So tēnei te mihi kia rātou, tēnei te mihi kia kōrua, ngā Kaikōrerō, tēnei kaupapa, o tira ai, ko au tēnei, I'm Zane, awesome to meet you, whānau, ka whio te rākau.
Kia ora, Zane. Brooke.
Tēnā tātou. Yeah, again, thank you to everyone for bringing this kaupapa to life. Yeah, I'm Brooke Stanley, born on this beautiful whenua, but my grandparents, our grandparents, are actually tangata moana. And yeah, like Zane, looking forward to sharing time and space today. And yeah, I've done work in the community. I'm a mum, daughter. I don't know lots about my physical whakapapa, but I know our souls all come from the same place. So I hope that what is shared today is of value to people. We can that there's some good food that we can all take away this Sunday. So yeah, thank you for having me.
Kia ora, cheers, Brooke. And Joe.
Oh, kia ora kōrua, and kia ora koutou. E kawe ana nā maunga me nā awa o Kotirana, o Inarangi, o Alaman, I wairua o oku tūpuna. E tai mai oku tūpuna ki Otepoti, ki Taniatua, ki Ruatoki, ki Waihi. Kei te noho ana au ki Morena Whira, ko Joe Wrigley ahau. It is awesome to be here today and sitting alongside the speakers virtually, but also just thank everyone for being here and the opportunity to listen and learn as always. Kia ora, and I'll just pass that rākau back to Zane now.
Oh, kia ora. Yeah, awesome, whānau. I mean, I can remember when I was staying at Ihu Mātao, there was a wahine and she was wearing a shirt and it said, if your activism isn't intersectional, it's just enacting your privilege. And, you know, that like really rung out to me. And I can remember, because my growth has very much been, you know, a part of my adult life, because I didn't understand this my whole life. Like, I am a child of South Auckland, and like, I hand on heart know some of the times within my life that I didn't understand that my oppression, like as a young Māori growing up in South Auckland, often in poverty, was connected to the same oppression that was put upon our Takatapui people, that was connected to the same oppression that, you know, people in Palestine are experiencing right now. You know, this kind of all-conquering capitalist force that has walked across Aotearoa, walked across the globe, should I say. As a young person, I didn't understand the connectivity there. And it's only through like being inside the movement that A, I have been able to learn about it, and then B, I have been able to experience kind of both sides of that. Because I definitely came up in like the environmental side of activism. And when you're in the environmental side of activism, like it was only just recently, actually, I was at a conference that was about environmental activism, and there was an environmental activist who was standing up there and speaking about the harms of the capitalist war machine and the destruction that causes upon the environment. And as that person spoke, I was like super aware that they had left out Indigenous people when they were speaking in that way. And it's very common for me to be in these kind of environmental spaces where they're talking about the protection, where they don't understand how that is connected to Indigenous liberation as well. And if the movement moves in one way without taking everyone with them, then the movement doesn't really move anywhere at all. And it's through that kind of understanding that my activism very much shifted from being solely based in either Te Ao Māori issues or environmental issues to any issues that was connected to kind of like, for want of a better term, colonialism. But for me, that is just like the enacting of capitalism across the globe. And so, which has been under the proviso of often white supremacy. So when you have an intersectional movement, you actually attack the root that holds up this tree of oppression at the moment, instead of kind of just hacking at the branches itself. Unless we have a movement that kind of protects our takatapui, that protects our Indigenous peoples, but that protects the plight of Palestine, we don't have a movement that is taking people forward at all. So koia taku, that's kind of like my experience, how I have come to an understanding of how intersectionality works within an activism space to kind of combat capitalism, to combat racism, and all other types of prejudices. Brooke?
Oh, thank you, Sam. I guess I think first off, I'm not a big intro girly or anything, so sorry, fam. I just kind of like don't really like doing those things. But I do want to acknowledge actually tangata whenua. I think for so fiercely remembering and holding on to their ways, so that those of us who are so deeply privileged actually to call this place home can remember in ours. When I saw the topic of today's talk, I first thought, well, what is anti-capitalism, anti-racism, and intersectionality, and how would I explain that to my 16-year-old girl, or even my younger nieces and nephews? I used to do that when our girl was little, so I could share with her how out of it the world is, and then realized, oh, shame, I'm out of it too. So to me, anti-capitalism is sharing without expectation. Anti-racism is remembering that all life forms have the same essence, that thing that you're talking about, bro, that quote that we are all one. And intersectionality is the awareness and seeing that everything is connected. So if we roll from there, it's pretty straightforward as to how we got here. sitting on the precipice of climate collapse, manufacturing wars for the sake of making money, genocides because we can't handle differences, extreme poverty because we believe people deserve it, and so on and so forth. Because as a collective human race, we're not living anywhere close to what I mentioned. And this psychotic colonial capitalist system is actually a reflection of our psychotic colonial collective ego, souped up on our collective arrogance and ignorance, and being left to morph into this insatiable cesspit of corruption and greed, caped for by the super rich and puppeted by a bunch of global leaders here and around the world that think they're super slick, and fed into by the rest of us because most of us are not ready for the real. I don't know about yous, but to me, death is a pretty hearty reminder that none of us are taking anything from this world when we're out, not even the bodies we came in with. So we might want to catch some clues as to the things we should be trying to pack our hearts with for the next part. I turned 40 at the beginning of this year, and I'm trying to do my best in confronting this beast by actually confronting myself. That's what I meant earlier when I said, oh, shame, I'm out of it too, because all the work done in the community and in myself led me to looking into my own mirror and clocking that all the ugly parts that I cry about in the system actually live in me too, which humbled me super quick. And as cheesy as the old saying of you can't change the world till you first change yourself goes, old knowledge becomes new knowledge when it's seen from a new horizon in you. Births are both gross and beautiful at the same time too. They're super messy unless you surrender to the flow of what is, and any form of resistance is met with more pain and heartbreak. But once it's over, there's this little cutie waiting to embark on a new journey. I'm going to be honest, I'm not trying to make it to the little cutie part, but I'm still in the trenchy crybaby waves. So, and who knows if I'll make it too. So I'm not sure about what to do about these out the gates in power, but I do know that for me, I had to know my ego before I can know a love without it. And to me, love is the movement, always has been and always will be. It's the only thing that has any real value here, is my preferred weapon of choice, my fave armor and place of refuge, and it's the fight that lives in all of us. This pull towards knowing love for the sake of love and nothing else. I don't always get it right too. Sometimes I wake up and choose reactive brat energy, but I'm trying. I'm crying, and that's all I can hope for. So here's to births, ego deaths, and rebirths as part of my journey and other journeys too. Shout out all of us trying to reach the little cutie phase and beyond. Shout out the fam that are beyond, known and unknown, past, present, and future. And as we move through such turbulent and violent times together, may we hold strong to peace as the journey and love is the movement. Thank you.
Kia ora. Oh, I was frantically writing notes, trying to catch up with the power that you were speaking, and then I went, you know what? I'm just going to put down that biro and be with that. Thank you, Brooke. That was tingles, really, really incredible, and I can't wait to come back and get into some of that messy birthness with you. The midwife over here was resonating. Kia ora, and the parent. Joe, can we pass the rako back to you? And yeah, I imagine you're like, whoa.
I am, and I want to acknowledge Zane's point around the environmental sector, and thank Zane for pointing that out and raising it as part of this discussion. I think it's a really important element, and a source of constant frustration for me. And also Brooke's reminder for love, because on my most bitter days, I have to be reminded to love to give love and to feel love. So thank you, kia ora kōrua, for that. I think it's important, if I'm going to talk about intersectionality, to talk about how I come to this and my intersectionality and the ways I've learnt that through the years. I am Pākehā. I'm also a mother, a daika queer person in a same-sex marriage. I was once married to a man, It's a big book, lots of chapters. I've worked across the spectrum of capitalist endeavour, for-profit, charity, social enterprise, self-employed and unemployed single parent. I come from both working class grit and upper middle class gentility, and I've felt the tension between those worlds my whole life. I have a settler whakapapa from Scotland, England, and the Isle of Man, as you heard. And the thing that I'm most aware of in my practice is that my whiteness is not incidental to the work that I do. It's just the starting point of it. So what I'm trying to say is I think I live at the intersection of contradiction and conviction. I think that's actually a good place for me to be doing this work, because the systems that we're all here to dismantle thrive on false clarity and falsehoods. They thrive on binaries, and that binary of white supremacy is that you're either in or you're out, you're either right or you're wrong. Gendered binaries, racial binaries, class binaries, they're not natural facts. They are tools of white supremacy and patriarchy designed to keep us sorted, managed, and separate. And so I want to just put that out front, because somewhere along the line, people choose not to play along. I think I was thinking about what Zane was talking about and Brooke's discussion on power, and I think those things are really entangled. Capitalism, colonisation, and racism are not three separate problems. They are one system running on the same logic, the logic of extraction, control, and how we discard or create waste. We extract value from land, from stolen land, and we extract labour from bodies. We extract dignity from people who are told their hunger is a personal failing rather than a structural outcome. And I come from a place of talking about food, because food and shelter are the things that consistently bring communities together. And especially here, because in Aotearoa, this phenomenon, or this white supremacy, this global capitalism, has a specific face, and it's the confiscation of whenua. It wasn't just a historical injustice, it's the ongoing basis of food insecurity, housing precarity, and health inequity. Right now, it hasn't. Those things are things that we're living with, and that continue to grow. You cannot have a serious conversation about poverty without naming land theft. You cannot have a serious conversation about racism without naming capitalism, and they are all part of the same conversation. Climate collapse is not a separate crisis arriving from elsewhere. It's an endpoint of the same extractive logic. Treating land as real estate, treating water as a commodity, treating atua and ecosystems as a kind of inventory in a system in which we have no power. What ties these together is the severing of a relationship between people and land. So, and between communities and food, and between present and future generations. Capitalism has worn that down over generations now. And the work of resistance is now the work of restoration. So reform isn't what we're looking for, it's restoration. One of the things that I've been thinking about is, what would it look like to lead at a pace of trust and integrity over urgency. And in my work, that's a question that we ask ourselves regularly. And we ask it because capitalism wants us to grind, to exist within a framework of urgency, to do more, to do it harder, to do it faster, to do systems improvement, new systems, pivot, repeat, try harder again. What does it take to slow down and work at the pace of trust and integrity over urgency? The sharp end of this whole system is Kai. I work in climate justice and community resilience, but increasingly I think Kai, or food, is where these systems become most visible and most personal. The global food system's not broken. It's working exactly as it was designed to work, to concentrate wealth, to make eating a transaction, and to manage rather than end hunger. Ethical procurement, fair trade, food banking, these things matter, but they don't change anything. They operate in a way that they become negotiations with capitalism about the terms of our exploitation, not rejections of exploitation itself. The most rigorous fair trade policy cannot restore tino rangatira. Food banking cannot undo the confiscation of whenua. And when we present harm reduction as food justice, we make the reform of a system for its transformation, or we mistake the reform for its transformation. We need to talk more about kai mutahaki, Māori food sovereignty, grounded in whakapapa tikanga and Te Tiriti. It's not a heritage project, it's a living critique. Pātaka kai, marakai, hua parakori. These don't ask how to procure food more ethically within a commodity system. They ask what it means to restore kai as a relationship with land, with ancestors, and with each other, and with future generations. It's a different kind of political project, and tangata tiriti need to understand that difference. And I want to talk about tangata tiriti as practice. Mō taku here, George. I see tangata tiriti as a practice. I've sat in rooms over the last few months where tangata tiriti is positioned as an identity, and it's something that you are. But I think it's more than that now. I think it's a practice, and it's an intentional practice of decolonisation and honouring Te Tiriti. I already have an identity. It's shaped by my ancestry, my whiteness, my queerness, my class contradictions. What I don't automatically have is a practice. And I think it's the practice of being tangata tiriti that matters now while we dismantle the system. That means resourcing without co-opting, following without disappearing, naming injustice loudly while making space for others to lead. It also means interrogating our institutions. Are our organisations competing with Māori-led initiatives for the same funding? Are we holding the purse strings, setting the agenda, framing inclusion as adding Māori voices to our structures? That's not solidarity. It's a subtle, powerful, well-intentioned form of control. Real solidarity means asking ourselves and making ourselves smaller, quieter, and more accountable so others can lead on their own terms. And finally, I had a massive aha moment listening to Ani Makairi deliver a keynote at a community sector event. It was a challenge to centre Te Tiriti in our work, and a statement that if we did not, we should get out of the way. It was a moment that reset our entire organisation with Te Tiriti practices. And just the final thing on intersectionality, I want to say that it isn't a diversity checklist. It's not we have a queer person, a person of colour, and a working class person on the panel, job done. I think for those of us doing this work as Pākehā, intersectionality asks us to hold complexity, not to flatten it, to see how our own multiple identities position us differently in different rooms, to stop treating our allyship as a fixed credential earned once and kept forever. It's not. And we also have to remember that if we're serious about dismantling the binaries that white supremacy and the patriarchy use to divide us, we have to mean it across all of them. It's a universal action. So my grandmother did needlework, tiny stitches, quiet resistance and cloth. I'm not great at sewing, but I keep going because the future we need isn't going to be assembled by perfect people with clean hands. It's going to be stitched together crookedly and collaboratively by people who show up with humility, with accountability, and most of all, as Brooke says, with love. That's the work. That's what I'm here for. And I heard this expression, and I hope I get it right. It was kia hikoi tātou, tangata whenua, tangata tiriti, tangata me nā mea katoa o te Aotearoa. Hei whanaunga, I wainga, I nā whanaunga, together. Kia ora, everybody.
Kia ora Joe, kia ora Zane, kia ora Brooke. We'll just give our audience an opportunity to express their aroha and gratitude to you. You have offered us some really powerful challenges woven through metaphor and story. Zane, you talked about the challenge posed by intersectional movements that dig into the roots of the problem, not just hacking at the branches. Brooke evoked the metaphors of birth and death to ground us first in changing ourselves so that we can tackle these psychotic matrices of domination. Joe, you have talked about crafting and practice as a way to be accountable and have integrity to the words that we use in this space. Kia ora to you all. Joe, Zane and Brooke, do you have any questions or things that you would like to reflect back or between each other before we engage with some of the questions and comments coming from our audience?
Can I just say one thing quickly?
Kia ora, yes.
Just like Joe, your kōrero around like Tangata Tiriti being a practice, it's just so accurate and so relevant at the moment. Like being Tangata Tiriti isn't just wearing the t-shirt. There's actual ways that you can kind of honor Te Tiriti in your own life every day. I was at that exact same conference where a lot of people spoke to me about being Tangata Tiriti, but couldn't tell me what their local marae was. And those two things just they don't align. Like if you are Tangata Tiriti, it's an action, and it's an action you undertake on your own whenua by learning about it, by all of those types of things. And just like for me, at least, to hear Tangata Tiriti speaking that kōrero, it does fills me with a little bit of joy, but to bring that kind of understanding that it's not just the slogan you wear on a t-shirt, it's not just about taking part in the march, it's actually putting your hands to work, learning about the whenua that you're on, going down to your local marae, supporting in that way. And that's a massive form of resistance in itself. So like tautoko tērā kōrero 100%.
Kia ora.
Brooke, Joe? Sorry, I couldn't see you there, Brooke. Were you wanting to jump in?
Oh, no.
Oh, you were waving me off. Oh, good. We've got some really beautiful comments, expressions of gratitude, reflections, and some questions coming through from our audience. Heather, really loved your crafting metaphor, Joe. Kia ora, Heather. lots to think about around tangata Te Tiriti as a practice that's really resonated. We have a question here, particularly aimed at you, Jo, although I suspect Zane and Brooke may have something that they would add to it too. How can we change the broken system? Do you think the system is already starting to fail, and in that will force a rebuild, something new?
Oh, kia ora. I think to start with, we as a nation have been gifted an amazing piece of work called Mātiki Mai. And if we want to stop operating within the system as it exists, Mātiki Mai offers the guidance and the foundation for us to look at what our values are, our shared values as a nation, how we govern ourselves, how we honour mana mutahaki and tino rangatiratanga, and what that means in our communities together, justice, like it's a holistic piece of work and a conversation that simply needs the political will to continue. So I think that is the great reset we need. I don't think there's any political party. I don't think there's any systemic knob twirling that can fix where we're at now. We actually do need to look at ourselves as a nation, develop our constitution, and transform ourselves.
Zane or Brooke, anything to add in there?
I don't know. A part of me with that question is just in a place at the moment with the fuel prices escalating and the war going on and all of that stuff that I'm like, oh, this broken system is about to explode and kill itself type of thing. I know that there is a saying that you kind of can't capitalism your way out of colonization, and I totally believe that, and I definitely know that there's got to be ways for us to kind of look into the knowledge of our shared Indigenous ancestors, like whether they be Māori or other Indigenous cultures that also had ways of being that actually worked. I'm sitting next to a maunga that has, just to speak to some of Joe's kōrero from earlier, I'm sitting next to a maunga that has 87 rua kumara upon it, and those are a tohu of the way that our civilizations used to work, that the food was free on those mountains. Food was a symbol of like the interconnectivity that we knew that if the people were well, we were all well. If the land was well, we were all well. And these kinds of philosophies we really need to shape into the system that we live under. But I'm definitely at this place at the moment where I'm just watching what's going on in the world, and I'm like, oh well, it's about to kill itself. This whole system is about to fall down upon itself. And I don't want to sound too excited about that, but I kind of am, because one of the things that I know, because it's when we talk about class and stuff like that, I come from South Auckland. I come from community, and my community gonna be good. We know how to look after the collective. We know how to share food. We know how to do all of those things. And I know that we're gonna be hit hardest when it collapses, but I also know we know how to do these types of things, how to work as a community. And those are the ways that we need to move forward, because this system is not broken, I don't think. This is the way that it actually works. This is the way that the system was designed to work, and I can't wait for it to all fall over. And I just hope that we can eat the rich when it's all done fun. I'm just kidding there, not really.
Beautiful. Oh man, you're all too awesome.
Can I just add on? Like, it's one of the things
do.
that the climate events, I'm like now excited because tautoko, all of that. But we also know that across communities, people no longer feel like they need the government, because climate resilience and climate responses in communities have taught us that we know what we're doing, that we have relationships, that we can feed each other, that we can make shit happen together. And it kind of has almost and it's weird in an election year to be saying this, but it's created an amount of distrust and disinterest in our current system of government.
Right. Zane, Brooke, any response there to Joe? I think, sorry, you go, Zane.
Can I just say, like, because Joe's so right there, and land back is the key, whānau. Land back is the key. That's how we get sovereignty over our kai. That's how we take back, and communities like, you know, taking that land back themselves. That's actually something that can happen. And we're actually seeing stuff like that happen in iwi, in hapu, across Aotearoa, tautoko kera, because that type of like, independence that they're taking away, like are taking upon themselves away from a government sphere, that is kind of like living the vision of Te Tiriti, that is living Mātiki Mai. And we can't rely on the government or the system to get us out of it. It will just perpetuate its kind of self. Land back is a good start, you know?
Zane, I think this question probably segues really beautifully with that. What are some small ways we can begin reconnecting to the whenua for us whose environment exposure is home, work, school, grocery store, back home where we don't really have a front or backyard, so exhausted, so broke, but wanting to try?
Is that for me? Is that for me?
I mean, I think it led on from what you said, but I'd offer it up to all of our panelists. So jump in. Yeah.
One of my you know, one of my great blessings in life is just the fact that I can connect with Te Taiao, that I like notice birds and I notice all of those things, and that like I have this relationship with the earth. And I know that that relationship that I have with Rākau and with Manu and stuff like that, that is something that colonization wanted to kill within my people. And so that little bit of resistance that I cherish it so much, because like not everybody has that. And that was purposeful. And that's one of the reasons why, like, looking after communities like South Auckland to ensure that we have trees growing, that we have birds flourishing in our communities, that bird song is a part of it, because they're trying to intentionally take that away from people. So you don't care about the land. So you don't care about your moana anymore, so that the Shane Joneses can go about this world just not worrying whether it's legal fish sizes or not. You know what I mean? Like, so the allowance of Shane Jones being able to do that comes from our disconnection to the whenua. Just take your time, y'all. Like, I think that Joe already spoke about it in terms of slowing down. Step away for a second. Put your phone down. Notice the way that the birds are like singing. If you can hear the cicadas in the morning, my one is definitely trying to watch the stars. So far, they haven't been able to take away the stars from us. And whenever I look at those stars, I also know that those are the same stars that my tupuna looked at for guidance as well. And that fills me with massive hope to know that we looked at those same stars and dreamed into the future in the same way. So finding that connection, I can't tell you how, but I can tell you how important it is. It's ultimately important. You need to know you are the whenua, you are your moana that sits around you. So koia tāku.
Aroha mai. Brooke and Joe, did you have anything to add there? One of these small strategies when we are under the wheels of the bus.
I just want to reiterate what Zane was saying about acts of remembrance, and that, yeah, just taking the time to be patient and kind of expanding our own awareness around life forms and the reality that actually all life forms are sacred and precious and are connected because we're all from the same essence. And I think one of the biggest values that colonial capitalism really pushes is this idea of superiority. And that ideology of superiority actually plays out in so many different levels, in so many different ways, and so many different forms. And I think that, yeah, just kind of like humbling ourselves to the fact that actually, yeah, we're we don't know nothing, actually. We don't really own anything at some point, that actually I'm not more than or less than another form of life here, actually. And I think that's a really important type of remembrance. I hear resistance, but I prefer the word remembrance, I think. It just, it's a little bit more flowy to me. So, yeah.
Ana tautoko that, and I think from like a Pākehā perspective, or from a ancestry journey perspective, understanding for me Gaelic tradition like is huge, and to then go, oh, actually this exists here already, where today is the autumn equinox, you know, like it's a time of the year, and these things are repeated through cultures around the world. But they're things that some of us need to relearn as well. And that is partly capitalism, partly colonisation, partly colonialism and imperialism. That is the, you know, the language of my people and the experience there. But when we talk about kai and food, it's about that relationship with the land. And it's really hard for people to imagine what it would be not to own land. Actually, it's an artificial construct. If nobody owns the land and the land is there, then that is such a huge step to dismantling the system that oppresses us all. And food growing isn't a lonely process. It's not a one single person process. It is a community process. And if we utilize that space to grow food, to teach intergenerationally, and to do it as collective projects that are built on relationship, not only with the land or the whenua and insects, wildlife and plants, like all of the things together, and we continue that process, then we can localize our own systems, which is something that we actually need to do. The more we localize our systems and work together, the greater our subversiveness is, the stronger the resistance or the remembrance is, because we're both remembering and we're remembering what we have been, we're remembering our relationships, and we're resisting power, I think.
Kia ora, Joe. Zane, I saw you connecting with what Joe was saying there. Did you have anything you wanted to loop back to?
Nah, I just like tautoko that so hardcore, and I do think that, you know, growing food is an ancestral practice. It's an intergenerational practice, and our tupuna's hands remember us doing that. So if there is one way to connect with the whenua, it's get down to wherever you can, if there's a community gardens, and put your hands in it.
We have like the most vibrant chat going on in our chat box that I have ever seen as a chair. That is both a dream and a bit guttering, because we've got just over 5 minutes left on our panel. Aroha mai, if you have engaged a question or an extended comment and that I'm not able to loop back to it, I really hope our panelists get a chance to scroll through. There's been some real incredible tautoko for some of the things that you've said, so I hope that you get an opportunity to go back. I'll jump into some other questions. There was a question around social media. I'll see if we get to that. Sometimes I'm like, oh, tired of even talking about it. So beautiful question, but we'll pause that one for a second, and we're going to have a look at a question around car dependence as a tool for capitalism. It's a hot topic. Hey, so in the face of the current oil shock, there's a re-enlivened conversation going on about car dependence. How do you see car dependence as part of capitalism versus a necessary tool, including to access te rangawaiwai and reinvigorating relationships with whenua? Anyone from up? Yep, Joe.
Sure. We ran actually in my work, we ran this scenario in 2022. The tanker from Singapore doesn't arrive. The government restricts the fuel, only emergency services and, like hospitals and such can have access, and no private cars are permitted on the road whatsoever. What will you do? One of the most surprising things was that communities worked that out really fast. It took less than an hour for people to work out how they could get from A to B, how they could get food to people who were housebound, how they could get across cities, how they could communicate in their networks across a region. That they didn't have to be the person, that they had a relationship in that town that was beyond walking distance or biking distance, that they could have a conversation and then take action from there. And I think we underestimate the relationships that we have and the connections that we have, especially in this country, which is a small island nation, Pacific nation. And it is our strength, and we need to lean into that more, I think.
Got a Joan. Brooke?
I think any type of dependence on money, I think we've got to slowly kind of come to terms with, if capitalism is being dismantled, or as Zane says, it's kind of killing its own self, we need to get really quickly attuned to the fact that there's going to be no money and having to do things without money. That's the thing to me that sits at the kind of like moving forward. What anti-capitalism is a system or ways of being together that actually doesn't involve money, because money is the thing that measures our value, it measures our worth, it gives things value here. We create things for money that we don't actually need, often at the expense of the whenua and peoples. And so to me, anything that's connected to money, which is everything, which is at the root of capitalism, and actually why we're all out of it, because we're so driven by this desire for the power that money actually gives us in this world. We got to, like Joe says, like Zane says, we really have to remember in community and doing things without thinking about like, oh, what is in it for me? This idea of transactional relationships that have become super normal and embedded in the way that colonial capitalism operates. Like, yeah, we got to do things for the sake of doing things and nothing else, not having to expect anything in return, sharing what we have, and doing that because there is nothing else. Because at the heart of it, that's actually what real community is. And that's why Zane's saying, in Mangere, often communities that don't have anything, they share the most, actually. And that's what makes these communities resilient. It's so hectic to even think, like, communities that often have the least, that we consider to be impoverished and don't have access to resources and money, actually are super big in heart and spirit and sharing. And I fully agree with Zane when he says Mangere is going to be all goods. All these communities are going to be all goods because they already do the things that we should be doing. It's us who are middle class and privileged that are going to freak out because we don't know how to roll like that. And we're the ones that are going to panic, and we're going to see actually so much of our true selves be revealed to ourselves, what it means when these things are taken away, these things that we attach so much value from our own identities. Once they're taken away, who are we? And we need to come to terms with those things super quick and start doing that work like yesterday kind of thing.
Kia ora. Panel, we are on our last minute together, and as we hand the rako back to our audience to head off into their afternoons, I hope, audience, your first stop may be your marakai to get some of that growing going. But last word, each of you, Brooke, Joe, and Zane, anything that you would like to sign us off with?
No, I'm just thank you to everybody that came here today, that shared questions, that shared kōrero. Always grateful. Yeah, so nice to be on a panel together, Joe. That's the first time I think we've done a panel together. Always hearty as spending time with you, Bo. Like, thank you so much. And thank you, George, for doing a really good job of weaving this together, and all the fam behind the scenes, our moderators and tech fam. So thank you so much.
Kia ora, Brooke. Thank you. Joe, Zane.
Everything Brooke said. Thank you, everybody.
Zane.
Yeah, only land back, whānau, land back. That's what's up.
Eat that rich. Kia ora. Yeah, well, thank you once again for this precious slice of your Sunday afternoon audience. Thank you to our incredibly dynamic and affecting panel. I'm going to go away and head out into my own garden and maybe have a bit of a cry over all that. But yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And to our organisers, and yeah, go well. Ka kite.